What's up? It's Marco back in on the Sage of Soccer channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the Saturday games from the Premier League, match week 5 now, and I'm going to be putting some timestamps in the description in case you want to get straight to your favorite team. So I'm just going to jump right into it with the Liverpool against Everton game. This game ended in a 2-2 draw, and I think Liverpool's probably the more upset team after this, but Everton has to be disappointed without getting the win. So, starting things off, I'm going to run through Liverpool's perspective, and there are a lot of positives to take from the game, so I'll get through the obvious negative at the end. But to open up the game, they had a pretty nice goal where all three of their front three combined, and it got to Robertson. He put in a good ball for Mane. That was a really good start to the game. He had some good pressure going. I thought Robertson was looking good offensively all game. He did get beat by Calvert-Lewin on the header at the end, but I don't think getting beat by Calvert-Lewin in the air is that big of a deal right now. He's on fire. But their passing was looking great, especially in the midfield. I think this is the best I've seen a Liverpool midfield look in a very long time. Maybe since Coutinho left, but with Thiago, Fabinho, and Henderson, they were all combining very well. It was a great job by their midfield today. Obviously, Mane was able to put in a nice goal. Salah was looking good. I was kind of hoping Firmino would score today. He was doing well for Brazil. I was hoping that would kind of carry over, but no, I don't think he really even had a great chance to score, but hey, he was still combining well. I think my comparison of Benzema in 2017, that's good. Like, everybody knows how good he is, how important he is to the team. You can't drop him or anything, but just, you want him to do it a little bit more, you know. It was really disappointing for them to not win. They had that offsides goal at the end that I don't really know why was worn out. It was a great job by Thiago, Mane, and Henderson to get that goal, but yeah, it has to be disappointing to only get a draw out of that. And obviously Van Dijk got hurt. I'll talk about him a little bit more at the end, but they were without him, and I think if Van Dijk was in, they probably wouldn't have conceded from a set piece. Their defense hasn't exactly been great to start the year, so I'm not going to say they would have won if Van Dijk didn't get injured, but I think it would have been a different style of game, you know. And yeah, that was kind of disappointing for them. I also think maybe Adrian could have kept that goal, or Alisson could have kept that goal out, not Adrian. And it's kind of a bad goal for the second one. Trent Alexander-Arnold got beat pretty bad, and yeah, as I said, Calvert-Lewin in the air, you can't do much about that. You just can't let him get into that position. And also, something I noticed, Diego Jota ran into his teammate for, I think, the third straight game. He's obviously a good player. It's just kind of funny. I'm, looking for it now. Watch for that. It's happening. I don't know how to explain that. Also, some good free kick routines by Liverpool. They had, a fake argument, and they had a really good chip in. Kind of hoping they would score for that, but that's about it for the game. And obviously, the big thing is Virgil van Dijk got hurt, and right now it's looking like the worst 3 letters in sports is ACL, and geez, it's disappointing because that defense had finally started to get turned around, but man, it's not looking good right now because their second center back's always been a bit of a question mark with Gomez and Matip, and Alexander-Arnold's not exactly the best defender, and you have to wonder if this defense is going to regress back to what it was pre-Van Dijk arrival, and if it is, that's a scary thought for Liverpool, and you got to hope that Van Dijk will be okay. Hopefully he'll be able to get back before the Euro for the Netherlands. That's what the timeline is looking at, but that's a tough break. Now on to Everton, and it was a good game by Everton. Like I said, they have to be disappointed that they didn't come away with 3 points. They haven't beaten Liverpool in a very long time, but still unbeaten on the year. Just going to run through the negatives real quick. Coleman did get beat by Robertson for the opener, but he did come off injured. I think he was kind of looking not 100%. He's been very good to start the year. It's disappointing to see him get hurt. I also think that Andre Gomez, he wasn't doing the best. I think his best involvement was a cross that ended up as a shot, but he wasn't looking too good, and Mina had a poor clearance on that second goal. I'm not really sure if I should count Pickford as a negative, because let me get my light. On everything that counted, he was a very good player, but when there were 2 offsides plays, including the one that injured Van Dijk, I don't think he was trying to hurt him. There were some tough challenges, but that's a normal derby. I don't think anybody was going to try to cause injuries. But, yeah, he made a huge mistake on a ball that was ruled offsides, and on Henderson's goal that was rolled off sides, he also could have done better. I'm not sure what you should make about that. I'm just throwing it out there. But there were a lot of positives for this game. Lucas Digne, he was looking really good. He was doing strong defensively. He was really handling the wingers very well. Alexander-Arnold wasn't able to get as involved as he usually is. And he had a great cross for the opener, but it should be said he's no Rory Delap. Those long throws were not very good. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, aside from the goal, which honestly you expect at this point, he's in great form. He was really holding the ball up well, and when Everton weren't able to deal with the press very well, they could just kick it forward, and he was able to win the ball a lot of the times. Great game by him, and I also would have given him the Player of the Month for September. If I forgot to do that. I think he would have won that if I remembered to give that, and I think the game really changed for them after Virgil van Dijk's injury. Again, I think they probably still could have gotten this result even without the injury, but momentum really shifted. They started to get more chances, and that's what led to Keane's goal off the corner. Good ball in by James Rodriguez. He had a couple of really nice balls, but honestly, I think he wasn't at his best today, which is tough to say when he really should have had 2 assists, because that's just his level. He's that good, but could have done better, I think, and Richarlison really didn't have a great game. He hasn't been good all year, really. It's nothing that you talk about too much because, they're getting goals, but he hasn't looked that great this year, and maybe this red card will get him back into form, but I thought he was doing well with Brazil, too. Then, yeah, I think they were dealing with the press very well. Allen was really breaking lines very well, and, yeah, it was a good game by Everton, I think. Obviously, defensive mistakes, that happens when you're against a team like Liverpool. You can't hold that too much against them. So, yeah, good result. Decent game by both teams. I think both of them are disappointed that they didn't come away with 3 points. If I had to pick a man of the match for this game, I'd have to go with Lucas Digne. It's a tough call, but he's been second or third on man of the match for so many games, and he was defending very well. He was getting forward very well, and I feel like I should give it to him for this. So the next game I want to talk about is Chelsea tying Southampton 3-3, and God, I wish Chelsea wished they had not chosen that sponsor right about now, but we'll start with the positives for them, and it starts and ends at their attack. Great job by Werner. He was great today. He had some nice goals. He was finishing very well. He also had a good assist. He was creative today, and honestly, I think this performance was coming. Even when you looked at the last games where he hasn't been scoring, he's been, his movement has been great off the ball. He just hasn't been able to get, through balls into him, and I think he's won a couple penalties anyway, but yeah, it's good to see him finally get the goals that he deserves for those games. Then Ben Chilwell, he's looked great since his debut. It's only been 2 games, but I think he's going to be great for Chelsea in the Premier League, and great job by him. He had 1 offsides assist and 1 real assist, and I think he's going to be a huge part of this Chelsea team moving forward. Next one again, Jorginho, he was looking good. I was honestly not expecting him to play that much this year, but he's been looking really good under Lampard. I'm not sure what changed, if he started training a lot harder, or maybe Lampard just figured out a way to use him, but he's looking very good. I also think that Pulisic and Mount were looking pretty good. I'm obviously a little bit biased when it comes to Pulisic, but I think that he was, especially for a game coming back from injury, he was very good, and the great involvement on the 3rd goal by him. Also, I do want to say that Conte looked good defensively, and in the second half, Kai Havertz was looking really good. He had the goal, obviously. I don't think that was too much, but he was playing a lot more with a sense of urgency. I thought he was a little bit pedestrian or casual in the first half, and that did lead to him giving away the goal, but I think that's just a problem that he has been having. It's just he finally got punished for it, but as I said, he had a good second half, so I'm not expecting that to happen again. Now, for the negatives, it's obviously the defense. Kurt Zouma had a really bad mistake for the 2nd goal, and I think the 3rd one they really couldn't do too much about. The first one was the mistake by Havertz, but you have to look at Kepa, and I'm kind of beating a dead horse here, but he's making too many mistakes. What I was thinking about is I saw an Arsenal documentary, got the light again, a while back, and I think it was Robert Pires was saying, they'd be in a game, it'd be 0-0, and he'd be like, oh no, we really should be winning this. Then he'd take a step back and he'd, relax. He'd oh yeah, we've got Thierry Henry up front. He hasn't scored yet, he's going to get a goal. I think it's kind of like the opposite of that when you've got Kepa in net. I know I was thinking about this when I was watching the game, but when it got 2-1, I was like, oh, they need another goal because Kepa's going to give one away. He's going to give one away, and it ended up happening, and that's not the type of feeling you want with a goalie at your club. Honestly, Mendy can't get back soon enough, and they have to figure something out. He's obviously got some talent. He was the most expensive goalie in the world for a reason, but maybe he needs to be loaned out. I don't know. Next we got to go into Southampton, and there isn't too much to talk about. As I mentioned, a lot of their goals came on mistakes, but I do want to point out that Danny Ings, he had a very good goal. He wasn't as involved as he has been the past few games, but he's a striker. He came up with the goal. He needs to do that for Southampton. I thought Shea Adams was looking a lot better today. I haven't been that impressed with him this year, but he was looking pretty good, I thought. James Ward-Prowse, I thought he was doing very well. I wasn't too impressed with the wingers. Walcott technically had an assist at the end, but he wasn't looking that good all game. I would have liked Nathan Redmond to get involved a little bit more. I kind of rate him higher, so maybe I should lower my expectations for him, but I think he's a very good player, and when he has a game like that, I feel like we should judge him for it. I think he can do better. I think their defense, obviously, it's got some holes. This is a very good Chelsea attack, but Vestergaard got beat very badly. The second goal really, that was just a chip ball through. I felt like they should have dealt with that better, even if Werner has a lot of pace, but their defense wasn't the best today, especially in the center back. And McCarthy was playing with fire a lot with the press. I thought that if they went after him a little bit harder, McCarthy could have given away a goal, but he didn't, so. And he's still a good goalie. I think the main thing with Southampton is that I think they have potential to really take a step forward. When you look at Danny Ings, James Ward-Prowse, what Nathan Redmond can bring to a game, they still got some good fullbacks. Maybe I'm stuck in 2016, but Ryan Bertrand, he's still good. Walker-Peters has looked good. The potential is there for them to take a step forward, and I think that they really need to if they want to really develop. And I hope that they're able to do that this season. Okay, so for man of the match, as I mentioned, Southampton, their defense wasn't that good. A lot of their goals came from mistakes, so I think you have to go with a Chelsea player, and it's probably got to be Timo Werner. 2 nice goals, got an assist later on too. Great game by him, good performance. So next I'm going to talk about probably the worst team of the day, which is surprising when you look at the teams playing. Man City against Arsenal, and there isn't too much to talk about with this game. For Man City, I mean, Sterling, he had a pretty nice goal. It was a great combination play between Mahrez, Aguero, and Foden. I think that Mahrez and Foden were looking pretty dangerous. They were getting into good positions, but they just weren't finishing it off. It's good that Sterling was able to. Aguero had a couple of pretty good chance creations in there. He obviously wasn't 100%, but he was looking pretty good. Sterling, he did finish off the goal. He was looking pretty dangerous throughout the game, but only the one. I do want to say that I think Rodri had his best game of the season. I was a little bit disappointed at the yellow card because I thought that he was defending very well. He was playing a lot of balls forward. I think a lot more than he usually does. And I was really disappointed because I thought, oh, this is going to change, but he kept it going. He was playing very well today. It was a good performance by Rodri. And their defense, while they did leave some chances on the floor, they kept a clean sheet. It was a great job. Ederson was doing well. Ruben Diaz, he's looking like he could be that guy for them. Kyle Walker's performing a lot better than he had been. He has had a couple of bad performances early on. And I really want to see this team at full strength. When you get De Bruyne and Laporte back in there, I think this is a Man City team that could be really good. I want to see that happen. Hopefully in the Champions League. Then for Arsenal, I think their main problem was they couldn't get their attack into the game as much as they wanted to. I mean, the midfield, I think Ceballos was making a little bit of chances, but their midfield couldn't really get a hold onto the game, not for a long period at least. So a lot of their chances came from individual moments. I think Saka was looking very good. He's really impressed me this year. I think that, I'm honestly wondering if they should play him further forward, just take away that defensive burden that he has, but signing Willian kind of stopped that from happening, so yeah, it's kind of interesting to see where he will go, but I think Aubameyang, he was making some chances. He couldn't get the finish off, but I mean, it was a decent performance. I mean, with this Arsenal team, I mean, the problem is that they're just not good enough to beat the top 6 teams, and that's a bit of an issue for them. They need to be able to take that step forward. I think it was good this year. They've gotten 9 points out of 9 available from the non-top 6 games, but if they're going to want to get into the Champions League, they got to take that step up. Aside from that, it was good to see Thomas Partey's debut. He's a guy who I really am excited for Arsenal. Like, I think that they've needed a guy like this probably for the last 7-8 years, ever since Song left there, and he was honestly just like a Band-Aid over the Gilberto Silva-sized hole. But hopefully, Partey's finally that guy who's able to stay there and nail down that position. But overall, there's not too much to talk about. Good result by Man City. Picking man of the match, honestly, their defense wasn't even that great. I did like Rodri, but I'm probably just going to give it to Sterling. He was looking pretty dangerous, and he did get that goal. I think that's who Man City's Twitter gave it to also. So for the last game of the day, we had Manchester United beating Newcastle 4-1, and, this was a pretty back-and-forth game, but Manchester United was the better team, and they were able to pull away. So for the positives for Manchester United, after their first goal, I think they did very well. Obviously, that was a huge mistake, but they had a great reaction. Mata and Fernandes combined for that goal that was ruled off sides, and then Mata was able to put in a good ball that Harry Maguire finished off, and good for him. Like, he needed this performance badly. But good goal off the corner. That's obviously a big reason why they signed him. It's also good to see that set pieces are really getting rolling for this United team. For the last few years, even with how big they are, I think they were struggling with set pieces, and it's good for them to finally do well, Then, I think Rashford, he was looking very good today. He won that penalty that Fernandes was able to convert. He created the goal for both Fernandes and Wan-Bissaka. He got one later on. He really deserved that. I think when you're talking about guys on the break, he might be one of the best in the Premier League. Honestly, when Werner was scoring his goals in that Chelsea game, I think the first one, it really reminded me of how Rashford plays, like getting going and then holding the ball up and beating some defenders and getting a goal. That was a great job by him. Then Bruno Fernandes, he did miss the penalty, but he was looking very good throughout the game. He's just been due to miss a penalty. He's been great from the spot, and especially since they won, I don't think you should hold that against him. I think that when Pogba and Van de Beek came on, they were looking good. They obviously weren't looking too creative, but I think they brought a lot of creativity that this Manchester United team needed. Wan-Bissaka did get a goal, but I don't think it was the best game. I'll get into that a bit later. And, I think it was a very good game by Manchester United, especially with how many players they rested. Great result by Rashford. He was very good today. It's obviously my man of the match choice is. Then obviously the negatives, that own goal. I think that was a bit of bad luck. But it did happen, and, we should talk about it. And I think the bigger problem for them is that this game, they really weren't getting too much end product out wide. Mata was looking good, but he wasn't getting the positions that much. Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, and Daniel James were really getting forward a lot, and they just didn't have the final ball. I feel like if maybe Tejas was in, or Rashford was on the wing and Martial up top, I feel like this game would have been over a lot sooner. But they really weren't creating that well today, and I think this game kind of felt a little bit similar to the Brighton game that they had a while back, where you're looking at this game and it was a little bit too close. Like, it was obviously a back-and-forth game, but Newcastle were dominating a lot of it. And that's happened with the Brighton game, too, and that's a little bit of concern. Because, if it's like that Chelsea-Southampton game where Southampton gets a couple of goals against the run of play, and, you have something to really blame. It's frustrating, but it's not like a big issue. But with this type of game, it's a little bit concerning because Newcastle were looking very good throughout it. And let's just go to Newcastle. Their first goal at the beginning, it was very good off the counter. You had St. Maximin, who was looking very good today. He was able to get something going, put a ball into Shelvey, and he was able to put in a ball that got hit in for an own goal. It was a pretty good counterattack, and I thought their defense was doing pretty well throughout the game. Obviously, it's Manchester United, so you're going to concede some chances, but pretty good. Obviously, Hayden went down for them. That's disappointing. But Carl Darlow, he was looking very good. He might be one of the best goalkeepers of the year so far. He's been coming up with some huge saves. Obviously, saved the penalty, and he honestly didn't make a huge mistake once he got hurt. He was clearly struggling. It kind of reminded me of, if you're a fan of the UFC, like when Sean O'Malley really messed up his foot in a fight and the fighter took him down. Like, Manchester United probably could have shot from 30 yards out and they might have been able to score, but they just weren't shooting at all until the very end. But a great performance by Darlow, obviously before the injuries and when they started pushing forward. As I mentioned, St. Maximin was looking very good, and just a great result. Not a great performance, but an encouraging performance for this Newcastle team that's looking a lot better than I expected them to be. Overall, it's a pretty good game by both teams. Obviously, Manchester United got away with the win, and man of the match, I think I made it clear it's going to be Marcus Rashford. And yeah, that's about it for the Premier League games this week. I haven't gotten to watch them yet, but I think Real Madrid and Barcelona both lost today. It has to be the first time in a while both of them lost their games in La Liga. That's kind of crazy, and looking forward to the Champions League coming back. I'm probably going to get a prediction out on that by Monday or Tuesday morning. But yeah, that's about all I have to talk about. I'll see you.